All right, we will get started. Good morning, everybody, and welcome to the SaaSguru webinar. My name is Brandon VanGalder, and a few members of the SaaSguru team are kind of behind the scenes. Amit, or Akshay, and Vivek are helping out behind the scenes. I'm going to start sharing my screen, and as I do this, I can't see the chat. I can't answer questions as we're going. So if you do have any questions, feel free to leave them in the chat. And a member of the team is going to collect all of them throughout the presentation, and we will answer them at the end. Okay. And if you could keep yourself muted the entire time, just to help with feedback and too much sound going on, that would be greatly appreciated as well. All right, we are all here because of SaaSguru, okay? SaaSguru has a couple different training programs, obviously for Salesforce while you're here, and they also do a couple other SaaS programs as well. ServiceNow, and I believe AWS at this time too. They create tailored training programs based on your assessment. So the first thing you do when you sign up for a program is you take a test, and it's very similar to one of the practice tests, and you get a baseline score, and then it tailors your study material based on that. Okay, it is summarized to cut the clutter with short videos and micro modules. I went through the Service Cloud training a few months ago to help me study for my test. And there were very small bite-sized modules to go through. And it's also gamified. You can join study groups. It can give you nudges to remind you to study. And they have challenges as well, and a global leaderboard. My goal was to get to #1 for my certification, but I think the highest I got was #3. But I'll take that because I still ended up passing the test. And it's also community powered. Okay, there's live classes, live webinars, there's mentoring, and all sorts of other stuff as well. Okay. SaaSguru is here to help build on top of Trailhead in a way. They do recommend trails throughout your training program. So as you're going through the different modules, it will have different trails or specific modules in Trailhead for that specific topic and help you. So as you're learning on Trailhead, SaaSguru helps you along the way with benchmarks, personalization, revising. The best way to describe the revising is like flashcards, or if you take one of the smaller quizzes and you don't do so well on it, it'll say, hey, go back and try that section again and revise. Go through it one more time, practice. And there's also mentorship available, and all in the ultimate goal of earning your certification. Okay. Joining SaaSguru, it's not just a training program, it's a community, and we want you to become part of that community. They do have monthly hackathons where you can join and you take a test, and if you can see how high you score out of everyone who took the test. It'll give you an email and it'll rank you, 1 through 100 and 1 through 150, and everyone who takes it gets registered for a drawing for a certification voucher. They have like blog posts and social media posts with product tips and updates, live classes and webinars, just like this one, and 24/7 live help from gurus. And I would say that mostly comes in the Slack channel, which is mentioned right here. So once you join the program, you get the Slack channel invite. and they're also found on LinkedIn, and I've also seen them in Facebook as well. All right, welcome to the masterclass for Salesforce Sharing Model Basics. To start, a little bit about me and my journey. I was a teacher for 12 years, and I didn't even find out about Salesforce until March 2019, listening to a podcast. And as you can see, I found out about it in March 2019. I look back, I earned my first badge in Trailhead on March 13th, 2019. And then I didn't get my first certification until June 2020. So about 16 months. So my journey was long. I was still teaching at the time when I was learning. I only studied during the breaks that I had and some on the weekends. So it was a very, very long path for me. saasguru wasn't around then, and I really wish it was, because it would have guided my studying. So I was just kind of randomly choosing trails and modules to do that I thought sounded fun. I got my first Salesforce role 1 year later. I had to keep teaching. That's why it took so long. I was sort of looking for jobs during that time, but not super intensely looking for jobs. I was just finishing out the teaching year and didn't get that role until a year later. So now it's July 2021. So I've been in my role for 1 year so far. And during that time, I have earned 4 more certifications, getting one in October, one in January, one in April, and then my last one was in June. All right, introduction. Here's our agenda for today. The introduction kind of went through myself. I introduced the team already, and our topic of discussion is Salesforce Sharing Model. Okay, we're going to talk about profiles, permission sets, OWD, which is org-wide defaults, the role hierarchy, sharing rules, and manual sharing. Okay, we'll talk about a live scenario-based demo. So I will go into a Salesforce demo org and kind of show you some of these things as well. And then at the end, during wrap up, we'll talk about next steps, and that's where I'll be answering the questions. So again, if you have any questions, put them in the chat, and I will be giving you a surprise at the end of the Q&A session as well. Oops. All right, let's get into this. Levels of data access. Okay, this is kind of this is the bigger level of access. How do you even get into Salesforce? Okay, when you get into Salesforce, what can you see? And then at number 4, it kind of gets into more of the nitty-gritty kind of stuff. Organizational access. I think of it like, think of a building or an office building, could be a school. Okay. Salesforce offers a layer of security for the users who are authorized to access Salesforce instance. Okay. So if I'm going to my office building and I don't have my key card, or haven't started my job yet, I don't have a key to get in the building, I can't even get into Salesforce. So obviously I can't see anything. Okay, once on my first day of my job, I got a key card. Okay, I take that to the door. I touch the little keypad, it lets me in, right? So do I have access to the building, even to Salesforce at all, like signing in, using my username and password? They can also restrict where you log in from. Okay, a good example of that is, okay, I can work remotely at my job, or I can go into the office. If I was restricted to only certain IP addresses. I'm only allowed to go to log into Salesforce from my office computer. Okay, they could block me from accessing Salesforce at home on my laptop. Okay, they can also restrict what times of day. So you can set limits like 8 a.m. to 5 p.m. Monday through Friday. They don't want anyone else accessing Salesforce at any other time. They don't want them accessing on the weekends. Some companies have it open all the time. Some people have it restricted to certain times a day. Password policies, that's things you can set. Password length. Do you want to use numbers and letters and special characters, things like that? How often do they expire? Typical kind of password things. All right, object access. Once you're in Salesforce, your username and password works. What can you see at the big level? Object access, think accounts, contacts, opportunities, leads, different things like that. Okay, these can be set at the profile level, or they can be given to you in permission sets. And I'll show you that in a second. In my office building analogy, think of, okay, you can only access a certain floor of the building or multiple different floors. Okay, if I am the CEO, I should be able to see every single floor. But if I'm only in the sales department, okay, maybe I only work on the second floor of the building where the sales team is, but I can't go to the 5th floor where the CEO works. Okay, something like that. Let's jump over to here. We'll get to that in a second. Field access. In my building analogy, okay, I work on the 2nd floor. Okay, but there's different rooms on that floor. Do I need access to all those different rooms? Or do I just need access to my office specifically? Okay, you can control the access to the field level using profiles, field level security, and page layouts. So there's multiple different ways you can show, hide, allow editing, or making it read only. And we can show you that in a second. The 4th way is record access. Okay, so the field access are the specific fields. So on a contact per se, the name field, you put the person's name in, first name, last name. Okay, you probably want that editable, but some people don't need to edit it. So you can take that access away. But can they even see the contacts at all? Okay, maybe I own the account for Home Depot. So I should be able to see all the contacts for Home Depot, but the other salesperson doesn't need to see the contacts for Home Depot. Okay, so they don't even have access to those records at all. You can manage record level access using org-wide defaults, role hierarchies. So if you think of the hierarchy, you have your CEO at the top, and then below them, you have your vice presidents. And under each vice president, you have managers. And then under the managers, you have different sales roles, service roles, whatever department they're in. Sharing rules, you can kind of make more specific criteria-based sharing rules. And then there's manual sharing. Like if I need to share a specific record with someone else, I can click a button, search that person's name, and share it with them to give them access if they don't already have it. Wide defaults, and you find this in setup. If you search sharing settings, the org-wide defaults are at the object level. So you can see lead, accountant, contract, order. Okay, all your different objects are over here. And each one, some are different, some are the same. But when you click into it, you can see the different options. Private, if you click private, it means only the owner can look at it. Okay, public read only means everyone can see it, but not everyone can edit it or make changes. Public read write, everyone can read it and edit it. And then you have public read write transfer. So specifically on leads, I can take the lead and I can change the owner of that. Let's take a look at account. Account's a little different. You don't really transfer the accounts as much. You can see there are only 3 options here. And then contact. I like to use contact as an example because you have the account above it. And then for each account, you probably have multiple contacts, right? And then they have a special one called controlled by parent. So whatever permission I give account here, because that's the parent, it's public read write, that's what contact is going to get. And I can set that. I can change it to something totally different if I wanted to. And then you have your internal access and then external access as well. So internal are people who work for your company using the Salesforce. External would be if you have communities turned on or experiences or outside people. Maybe they can't see any of it. You set it to private. If it's their account and they're one of the contacts, they should be able to see the account and probably their own contact, and if not, other contacts on their account as well. So you can see these are different. And like I said, a couple different ones have different, different specific things for calendar events. Campaign members are a little bit different as well. Okay. So that is org-wide defaults. The next one, object access. So I'm in a permission set right here that I set up. And if you click into a profile, it's very similar to this. And you might have a different view if you don't have the enhanced view looking on. But if you go to the object settings, okay, I am on a like dummy. So this one's all blank. It doesn't have any access. If I wanted to give someone access, okay, if everything's set to private, but I want to expand what they can see, I can give them read access. Okay, create. But if I give create, they obviously have to be able to read it. I can give edit access on top of that. I can give delete. Delete's kind of one where if I give it the next level, I don't need to let them delete it. Okay, and then if you do modify all, it'll give them everything all at once, except for create. Okay, so there are a couple instances where even if you have modify all, okay, you might not get all the other permissions. So that's something to keep in mind. Okay. Field permissions, right below that. Okay, so we're on the account object. Here's all the different account fields. You can see if you have edit access, you're automatically going to get read access. So if I click that there, but I can take edit access away. I can only give read access if I want to certain fields, but that's at each field, each specific field on the object. Okay. So if it is on the page layout, if I take read access away, now for that person, that profile, whoever has the permission set, okay, it'll disappear. You won't even see it on the page when you load it. Okay, if I give read access back, okay, it'll pop up. If I give edit access, it'll have that little pencil next to it, or you can double click it and get in and edit that specific field. Okay. Let's see, let's go back. We can go to get out of this. So in sharing settings, you have your org-wide defaults. And then if you scroll down farther, sharing rules. Okay. This is where this is where you can specify based on criteria. So you name your rule, be based on the record owner. That's a little easier. If I'm in a public group, then I can share it with different public groups or share it with a certain role. Okay, I want to share all my leads with the Western sales team. Okay. Same thing down here. In the org I work at, what we see mostly is the criteria based. So you can say, if the city or country equals US, then I can share it with all the sales reps in the Western sales team. Or I would probably run that twice, get 2 of them, Eastern sales team. Okay, so I would have to make 2 roles, one for Eastern, one for Western. And then what level access do I want? Oh, they can read it only, they can see it, but they can't make any edits. Or do I want to give them read write, where they are allowed to edit? Okay. Actually roles. So the last one I want to show is the role hierarchy. Okay, so here's a good picture. You have your CEO, president, okay, VPs up high, Western sales, Eastern sales, international sales, and then the people under them. Okay, so that's just a picture. There's a couple different ones here. Basically shows the same image. And then in here, you can see it kind of just keep branches down, branches out. Okay. And the way you can share roles is, okay, let's say I have the installation and repair service role, and we only want to share installation and repair service cases with each other. Okay, so we can make a sharing rule that anyone with this role can read write those cases. Do we need to send it? Do we need customer support to see those installation cases? Probably not. But if you wanted to, you can add them as well. If I shared it with the senior vice president of customer service and support, I can share it with just that role, or there's an option to share with that role and all the subordinates. So if I choose that, it would be everybody right here who could see it. Okay. Last one, manual sharing. Let's see if we can get in there. Manual sharing is on the specific record. So let's get into one. Hopefully there's some cases in here. All right. So here's a case. Okay, click the sharing button. And then here, do I want to share it with specific user, group, role, and subordinate? Okay, if I share with the Senior Vice President of Support and Service, we'll share with all those people, maybe just a specific role, maybe just a specific group if you have those set up, or a specific user. Okay, what type of access? Read only, read write. All right, so those are all the examples of how things are shared. All right, profile and permission sets. I kind of went briefly into those and only showed you the object access for the permission sets, and it'll look very similar to the profiles as well. So every user in the system, and that's something I do on a probably weekly basis. I create a new user at my role. We have to give them a profile. So we have different profiles for our sales members, service team members, marketing team members. And those kind of give them the baseline access to objects and fields that we want, that they need to do their job, basically. There are standard profiles that come out of the box. I don't know, there's probably 20 of them. But it's important, you want to clone those standard ones and make your own. Because if Salesforce changes what the standard profile has as access during one of their updates, it could change what your team members who have that specific profile can see. All of a sudden they might lose access to something. So you always want to clone it and give them a custom custom profile. And then you can make modifications. Object level access. Kind of went through this. I showed the read, create, edit, delete, view all, and modify all. And the record types. In this dev org, I don't have record types set up on anything. But let's say you have on your case object, you have customer support cases, and then you have the installation cases. You can make separate record types for those, and you can choose which profiles can see either one. Maybe they can see both of them. Field level access, kind of showed that on the permission set and profile already. App and tab settings. All right, I can go back and show that. So this is the object settings. Let's go back. Okay. So you have app permissions, assigned apps. Okay, these will, we don't have any apps set up in here. Let's check the other one. So there's like specific apps, the sales app. Maybe I have special permissions here that I can do. Let's see. So with the app settings, I'll talk about my specific company. Our service team members, they use the Service Console app, but they don't need to see the Sales Console app. Okay, they don't need to see the engineering team's app, but they only need access to certain ones. So why add it to the screen for them to even choose from? And then tab settings. Okay, what tabs can they see up here? Okay, these are like the standard ones on the service app. Okay, can we allow them to add more tabs? Do we want to hide certain tabs that they don't need to see, or for security reasons we don't want them to have access to? So you can control who can see what here at the time. If you're the administrative permissions. All right, so this is system admin. If you look down here, the system controls, I really don't use this one much, but in system permissions, these are kind of like higher level permissions. I was just in here the other day and giving single sign-on permission because we set up single sign-on with Google. But do you want other people to be able to create and edit flows? Probably not. That's something you only want like your system admin to have. And there's all sorts of stuff in here, too many to go through. A big one is here on users. We have some managers, while they can't create users, we allow them to edit certain things on the users. Can they change their role? Maybe if they get a promotion, do we want to be the ones updating it, or can we give that permission to other people in our organization? Do we need anyone to see all the users in our org? Okay, maybe your HR person needs to see them regardless of the sharing settings. Okay, maybe they don't need to edit everything on it, but they can at least view them all. Okay, does anybody need to see the profiles? Okay, different things. There's a lot of behind the scenes one. Again, so many in here. We can't go through them all. Big ones that we see the most: subscribe to dashboards, subscribe to reports, different things like that. Do we want to allow people to subscribe other people into reports? Okay. All right. Permission sets. I was just in that. You can set temporary access or permanent access to apps, objects, etc. Usually you use the profile to set baseline access, and then you give permission sets on top of that to give them more access. Security restrictions. Okay, this is your session settings. Like if I log into Salesforce and then I'm inactive for an hour, do you want to like force to log me off if I try to make any changes? Password policies, again, password length, what types of characters, login hours, IP ranges. And let's take let's see, where are those? Haven't been in here for a while. Oh, there we go. Login access policies. So here's some of them. Okay, trusted IP ranges. If I only want to use the IP ranges that are in my office building to give access, okay, I could use that. If I know the specific IP ranges or IP addresses of the laptops I hand out to my company, I could put them in here, and then it'll prevent them from logging. All right, moving on. Product showcase. All right, here we go. Here's our personas. We have the VP of International Sales, Michael Dean, the VP of North American Sales, Sue Murray, and then the support agent, Elvis Pinto. Okay, and we're thinking about profiles and permission sets here. All right. And in the chat, you guys can put your answers of what you think we should use, okay, to grant them the specific access in these use cases. All right, the sales team should not be able to update the customer case information, as it should only be managed by the customer service team. So is there something we can, what would we use to limit the ability to update? If you type an answer in the chat, do you think it would be set at the profile level, set at a permission set level? What do you guys think? I see profile, profile, profile. Yep, that's right. All right, so the sales team profile, whatever you have it called, on cases, you can give them like read-only access, but not edit access. So you would set that at the profile level. Good job. All right. The sales team can only view opportunities which they own. All right. So it's not one of these two features. I'll tell you that. What do you think we would set to make it so sales team can only view opportunities which they own? Good, good, good. I see OWD private, OWD private. Yeah, org-wide default. And then I see sharing settings in there as well. Yep, org-wide default private. And then if you did want to share it, you can use those sharing settings to set it based on users or roles or whatnot. All right, this one. Oh, this is a good one. Yeah. All right. The admin is going on leave. So I'm taking a vacation and they want to give Sue, give access to Sue to be able to create new contacts. What would I give to Sue that while I'm on vacation, she can create new contacts? Yeah, looks good. Permission set across the board. Yeah, I can give her that permission set literally specifically for one thing that says create access on contacts, and it'll give her the read. So she'll have two checkboxes. And then when I come back from vacation, I can take that permission set away from her. So that's the beauty of permission sets. They're kind of temporary. All right. Record level access. Kind of went through this already. Org-wide defaults, set the most restrictive level. You want to lock it down as much as possible at the org-wide level, because everything else is basically going to open it up. Okay, the role hierarchy with the CEO at the top and all the branches coming down. This ensures that the people above you in the hierarchy have access to the records. Okay, and then each role represents a level of data access users require. We have a situation at my job right now where our services and support have the same role, and we're considering changing it to services having a different role and support having the same role. So splitting that up, but we have to consider the hierarchy as well. Sharing rules extends access to the records, okay, as exceptions to what we set at the org-wide level, to groups of users, individual users, roles. And then manual sharing, that's where you're physically clicking the share button, okay? And you can give read and or edit access to those files. Like if you need someone helping you on a case, or you're trying to close an opportunity and you need to share that with someone else, you can manually share it if they can't see it. All right, org-wide defaults, kind of showed you this already. Okay, baseline level. default access settings. Again, some of them are different. They have different options, but these are the big four: private, private, public read only, public read write, and controlled by parent. Grant access using hierarchies. That's the roles. We already went through that. When it's private, the hierarchy grants sharing to the people above you. Okay, and you want to think about it at the object level. Is there ever going to be an instance of this object that this user should not be able to see and edit? Again, do the sales team need to see the cases, the customer support cases? Maybe they do, but do they need to edit it? Probably not. If they can see the cases, they can probably offer better sales support if they're trying to add more sales to that contact or account. All right, role hierarchy. Kind of showed this already. This works together with the sharing settings. Okay, and remember, you can use this in manual sharing, the sharing rules as well. And again, it goes from like a top-down approach. The CEO can see any records owned by the people below them. Granting access using hierarchies is a checkbox under sharing settings. So if you ever have anything private in your org-wide defaults, it's probably something you want to turn on. Otherwise, you're going to have to create tons of sharing rules, do tons of manual sharing to get around it so the people above can see stuff from the people below. And then user assignment, you want to think, okay, what should they be able to see at what level? You can only have one role, but it's not required. Okay. When people at our company get a promotion, we don't necessarily change their role here in Salesforce, even though the title they have is something different. All right, sharing rules. Kind of showed you what it looked like already. These extend the access over the baseline access of each object. Okay, if you have it on public read only or private, and you want to share it with certain groups, okay, give it to certain individuals even, based on the role, their territories, depending on if you have territories set up. Who do you want to give more access to, basically? Think about the two different types. We have the criteria-based and the ownership-based. Okay. You can only grant read-only or read-write access, and there are limits. You can only have 300. I think in my org, we have under 20. So I think reaching that limit would be kind of crazy if you got anywhere close to that. Manual sharing kind of showed you that. You can pick users, roles, give read or write access, share to territories if you have it set up, or different groups as well. In Lightning experience, manual shares are available only on accounts, opportunities, cases, contacts, leads, and custom objects. So there's certain things you can't share. And it took me a while to figure this out. You can add multiple people at the same time before you click save. I would always do it one by one because I didn't realize that for a little while. All right. Coming back, let's see if we can get these answers correct. We have the VP of International Sales, Michael Dean, and then the VP of North American Sales, Sue Murray. Let's think about org-wide defaults, sharing rules, and manual sharing this time. All right, Sue can see Michael's leads as org-wide defaults for leads is set to public read-write. Okay, would she be able to see them? That's just a yes or no question right there. What do you guys think? Would she be able to see Michael's leads? Public read-write. All right, yes. Got a bunch of yeses. Yes, she would. Public rewrite means anybody. Anybody can see. It's not locked down. All right, next one, number 2, sharing account records with Sue using sharing rules as org-wide defaults for account as private. Again, it looks like a yes/no question. Can you use sharing rules to give account access? Yes or no? And I would say to a specific person on that one. All right. I see yeses. Yes, you can. Sharing rules are available on accounts, and you can do a specific person. You can look up the specific name. You could probably find her role as a VP of North American Sales and share it to her that way as well. Number 3, sharing opportunity record. Can you share an opportunity record with Sue using manual sharing as org-wide default for opportunity is set to private? Yes or no? Yes. Oh, see a bunch of yeses. Yes, you can. All right, good. So these all, well, sharing rules and manual sharing extend the access depending on what your org-wide defaults are. All right. All right, we are at the end. Next steps, I'll just go through this slide, then we'll have question and answers. Next steps, reach out to us, okay, using certification support chat or directly for any help. And that's on the Slack channel. So if you signed up for saasguru already, I think in one of the first emails, they give you the link to the Slack channel, or on saasguru itself, there's a link to that as well. Complete the micro learning modules and practice in a saasguru app. Complete the hands-on exercises from Trailheads. Like I said, there's little modules in saasguru, and then at the end of each one, or most of them, there is a link to a Trailhead module that's related to it, so you can get the hands-on learning. Okay. At the end of this session, I believe when you click leave the meeting, there will be a quick survey. It's like 5 questions. If you just share your thoughts about today's webinar, that'd be great. And we could make some changes based on your feedback. Okay. And spread the love, share everything about saasguru and what you think about us, and